So what is quick payment? As the name itself says, you can quickly make a payment of an invoice. So go to invoice, entry, invoices. Okay, I want to bring up those invoices which are not yet paid. So I say payment is unpaid and click on find. Okay, I also want to put some more criteria. I want to pick up only those invoices which are in validated status. The reason being, I can make a payment only once the invoice is validated. Okay, there are a lot of unvalidated invoices also which are available in the system. Best example would be, if you remember, we have created the rent invoices today, and those invoices are not validated because corresponding periods are not open. So I don't want to bring up those invoices. I want to bring up only validated unpaid invoices and click on find. Okay, now all these are all the open invoices which are available for making a payment. So I just want to pick up any one invoice. So I just want to select this invoice. Okay, this is a good example. I picked up an invoice which has got 35,000, and out of 35,000, 3,500 is the withholding amount. So now I should be able to make a payment of only 31,500. I should not be making a payment of 35,000. I should be able to make a payment of only 31,500. Okay, and remaining 3,500 will be paid to whom?
Tax authority.
Tax authority, because there is another invoice which is created in the name of tax authority for 3,500. But as far as this invoice is concerned, I will make a payment of only 31,500, and then we'll come back to this particular screen and see what will be the amount paid. It will show 35,000 because it will show the entire invoice amount. 3,500 is already deducted here and created as a separate invoice. Okay, now go to actions. Click
So
on.
Arvind, you mean to say that when you pay the 31,500, your payment will be 3,500 will be all parallelly will be done against that invoice?
No, you need to do it separately for that particular invoice. But as far as this invoice is concerned, okay, you are supposed to pay only 31,500, right? So,
Right.
so that's the reason when you go to actions pay in full, it will allow you to make only payment of 31,500. But for the 3,500, there is another invoice which is generated. You need to manually go to that particular invoice and make a payment of that 3,500 separately. Okay.
Okay, but after completing this invoice, before paying that 3,500, so how your accounts will be? This invoice will be closed with the full payment of 35,000,
Uh-huh.
and then but how the general entries will be in that case?
I'll explain you all those journal entries. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. First, we'll concentrate only on the payment process. Okay. Click on pay in full. Click on OK. Okay, as you have brought up the invoice, as you have queried the invoice and click on actions pay in full, the vendor site are automatically defaulted because you are coming from the invoice screen. Okay, these are all automatically defaulted. Okay, payment date is today's date. Amount also, you can see payment amount you cannot change. By default, it is defaulting to 31,500 because that's the only outstanding amount. Okay, and click on bank account and specify the bank account which you want to use to make the payment. ICICI savings account is the bank account which you want to use. So if you remember that number of digits to display is set to 4. So you can see only last 4 digits, and for the other digits, I'm a payable clerk. I should not have an access to see all the other digits. So that's the reason why I'm able to see only last 4 digits because of that particular checkbox. Okay, and payment method is defaulted to check. Okay, and yeah, and I hope the payment method at the invoice level is also check, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's a check. Yeah, there is the other screen. Okay, so check. And payment process profile, this is mandatory. So click on the drop down, select the payment process profile related to check, Reliance postpaid check. Okay, and okay, and save this. That's it. Now payment is completed. Okay, now go back to the invoice. Okay, requery this particular invoice and see what will be the amount paid here. Clear this. enter the invoice number ABC 202 and click on find. Okay, total amount, okay, sorry, I should have said that amount paid is only 31,500, but this is closed from a payment perspective. We are supposed to pay only payment of only 31,500. So even in the what you call aging also, this will not be shown. Okay, the reason being, if you go to the lines level, automatically lines level you can see 35,000 minus 3,500. Okay, so net outstanding is only 31,500, and which is what we have made. If you go to view payments, you will be able to see the payment number which system has generated, the date, and the payment amount. If you click on payment overview, again it will take you to the payment screen wherein you have made the payment. Okay, and now from an accounting perspective. Okay, first we will see the accounting for the invoice, and then we will see the accounting for the payment. Okay, so first thing is you have created invoice for 35,000 rupees, right? So expense account debit 35,000, liability account credit 35,000. Okay, and now after that, what system has done is system has reduced 3,500 out of this particular invoice. So for 3,500, the entry is liability account debit 3,500, withholding tax 3,500. So if I go to the invoice, click on actions, create accounting. Now let us see the accounting. Accounting has been successfully created. Okay, so there are a couple of entries here. So the entries under the primary ledger, the entries under the secondary ledger. So in order to what you call reduce confusion, I just click on view journal entry by putting my cursor in the primary ledger. So I want to see the accounting entries only of the primary ledger. Okay, so the first entry is your expense account debit 35,000, liability account credit 35,000, and then liability account debit 3,500, withholding tax credit 3,500. I think that's what we can see in my Excel. Expense account debit 35,000, liability account credit 35,000, and you're reducing liability by 3,500. Okay, liability account debit 3,500, withholding tax credit 3,500. Okay, that's the entry for the invoice, the original invoice. Okay, going back to, okay, and when you have made a payment of this particular invoice for 31,500, the entry was liability account debit 31,500, cash account credit 31,500. Okay, so if you see the net impact as far as the liability is concerned, 31,500 debit, 3,500 debit, and 35,000 credit. Okay, and cash 31,500 is the only cash which is gone from our pocket. So 31,500 is the one whatever it is showing here. Okay, and you can see withholding tax 3,500 and expenses for 35,000. This is for the original invoice. And now withholding invoice. Withholding invoice, which that is the invoice which is created in the name of tax authority. The general entry is when you actually validate the particular invoice and do and create accounting of that particular withholding invoice, the general entry will be withholding tax account debit. Expense account will not be involved there. So withholding tax, whatever is being credited here, okay, will be debited there with 3,500. And again there is a liability of 3,500. Okay, again you make a payment of this particular withholding tax invoice. So the liability account which is credited here, you are actually debiting that with 3,500, and cash account will be credited with 3,500. So if you look at the total overall impact of this, okay, liability debited 3,500, credited 3,500, sorry, debited 3,500, 31,000, and this is credited with 3,500 here. So this is knocked off. Debit 35,000, credit 35,000, which is knocked off. Withholding tax account is credited here, it is debited here. These two are knocked off. Okay, this liability and this liability are also knocked off, debit and credit. So I'll also put this in different color. Okay, so ultimate entry is expense account debit 35,000, cash account credit 31,500, 3,500. So simple entry. If you look at the overall impact, you have debited an expense of 35,000. That is what you have purchased, and cash is 31,500 here and 3,500 here. So the net impact is expense 35,000 debit, cash account credit 35,000. Is that clear, Narendra?
Yeah, Arvind.
I know
Yes.
I know it is a little bit difficult to digest, but if you look at the overall impact, the total final journal entry is basically this one. Expense is debited 35,000 and cash account is 35,000. Had it be in a simple scenario wherein we do not have any withholding tax and all those stuff, so that is what system would have generated: 35,000 expense debit and cash account credit 35,000, which is what system has done even in this case also. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so coming back to our payment, so this is how you can make the single payment. You picked up the invoice, clicked on actions, pay in full, and then you were able to make a payment of that particular invoice. So that is a one way of doing a quick payment. Okay, and other way of doing a quick payment is, instead of bringing up the invoice, go to the payments, entry, payments, and enter the vendor for which you want to make the payment. And what is this site? ABC. Okay, and what is the payment date? Today's date. And what is the bank account through which you want to make the payment? Okay, payment method is check, and payment process profile is Reliance check. Okay, and then see, when you made a payment through quick payments, you went to the invoice, and from the invoice you clicked on actions pay in full. So that system has defaulted the payment amount from the invoice. But here you are making a payment for a vendor. As of now, we did not specify any invoice number. So how does system understand which invoices to be picked up? So here you need to click on enter or adjust invoices and click on this drop down. So now it will show you in the drop down the list of all the open outstanding invoices. There are a couple of outstanding invoices. It is showing up. So I want to pick up this particular invoice ABC 101, where it shows the amount remaining is 25,000. So if you use that pay in full functionality, automatically the payment amount is defaulted from the invoice and you cannot change that. But using this particular screen, if you want, you can make a payment of 25,000, or if you want, you can make a payment of only say partial payment, which is 10,000. Enter enter 10,000. Okay, and then save this. Okay, so you have made a payment of only 10,000 for that particular invoice. Now go to this particular ABC 101 and you can see amount paid is only 10,000. Still there will be an outstanding invoice, sorry, outstanding amount. You can see 25,000. It is not a scenario of withholding tax, so amount paid is only 10,000. So that means still there is an outstanding amount of 15,000. You can again go back to that particular screen and make a payment of 15,000, or from this particular screen again you can go to actions and you can pay in full. So now when I click on pay in full, how much system is going to make the payment?
15,000.
15,000 exactly. So click on actions, pay in full. You can see the payment amount is defaulted to 15,000. Okay, and then select the payment amount, the bank account and other details, and you should be able to make the payment. So this is how you should be able to make the quick payments. So if you want to make a payment in full, go through the invoice screen, or you can go to the normal payment screen, enter the criteria and bring up the invoices, and you can select all the corresponding invoices. And also using this particular screen, what payments, ABC vendor, payment method of 30th September 2017, ICICI savings, okay. Payment process profile. Click on enter or adjust invoices, click on the drop down. You can see multiple invoices. So ABC 101 with 15,000, select that. Again, you can put your cursor, click on this, you can select this. So you can make a payment of multiple invoices through a single screen. Okay. Similarly, pick up one more invoice. Okay. Save this. So now single go, you are able to make a payment of couple of invoices of a vendor. But now if there is a requirement to make a payment of different vendors, okay, of different invoices, that's where the next payment functionality, that is payment process request, comes into picture. Through the payment process request, you can make a payment of any number of invoices of any number of vendors. So if you want to make a payment of just a single invoice, go to the invoice and click on pay in full. If you want to make a payment of couple of invoices of a specific vendor, come to this particular screen and make the quick payments. But if you want to make a payment of various vendors with various invoices, then you can use the payment process request functionality. Okay, that is what is nothing but payment batch in 11i. Okay, so that is what is batch payments through PPR, which is what we will discuss now. PPR, payment process request. So for the payment process request, let me close the cash management. For the payment process request, again there are a couple of steps. This is all about the PPP, payment process profile, and for payment process request, did I not create? Okay, payment process request, I can directly show you there in the screen. Setup, payments, payment administrator, sorry, not payment administrator, sorry, payments, entry, payment manager. So this is where you actually create the payment process request. So before you create a payment process request, we need to create something called payment process request template. So again, it's like basically if you want to run the same payment process request every day or every month, you can create one particular template, and whatever is being entered in the template will be defaulted to the payment process request whenever you're triggering that. So again, template is just optional. If you want, you can create the template or you can directly proceed with the payment process request. I'll go with the template option. Again, in most of the modules, wherever you use the word template, it's only basically kind of a screen wherein you set couple of things, and whenever you go to a different screen, you use the template, and most of the things will be defaulted there. Click on create. So here I am creating the payment process request template. Okay, so my template name will be Reliance Postpaid PPR template, payment process request template. So I will use the same name for the description. So in the template, there are a couple of options. Okay, for what kind of invoices you want to make the payment. Okay, so I think I'll use a different template for check and different template for electronic. So we'll say pay Reliance Postpaid PPR electronic template. Earlier we have seen the what do you call check payment. Now we will see the electronic payment. Both the check payment and electronic payment both can be done through PPR and as well as a single mode. But in the single quick payment mode, as we have already seen the check payment, so as far as this payment process request is concerned, we'll try to select the invoices where the payment method is electronic. Okay. Okay. Now here there are a couple of options are which are available. So what kind of vendors you want to make the payment? If you want to make the payment of all the vendors, don't enter anything under payee. Okay. If you want to make a payment of only specific vendor, then specify the particular vendor. Okay. And what is the payment method? What kind of invoices you want to select when you are running through payment process? I want to select only electronic, so select electronic. Okay. And if you want to group, if you want to make a payment of only specific kind of a suppliers, then you need to specify that particular corresponding supplier type. So supplier type is an attribute which is specified when you are defining the supplier. So if you say a supplier type of say specific supplier type which is assigned to certain different suppliers, then and you specify that particular supplier type here, there are different kind of supplier types available here. Supplier type is way of grouping. Say something like standard or something like that. So if you say any specific supplier type here, then only the invoices which are created for a suppliers which has got that particular supplier type will be selected. And if I do not want to do any such kind of a what do you call criteria, then don't mention any supplier type, so that system is going to pick up all the invoices of all suppliers irrespective of the supplier type. Okay. And again something called pay group is also kind of a grouping of the different suppliers. If you want to specifically select a specific invoices which belongs to specific suppliers which falls under specific pay groups, then you can specify that. Otherwise you say all. Payment currency is also all. Legal entities also you can say all. You can specify your specific legal entity, or you can say all legal entities but a specific operating unit. So what is our operating unit? What is our operating unit? Reliance
Postpaid.
Okay, again, any guess why only Reliance Postpaid is coming in the drop-down? Why it is not showing the Reliance Prepaid or other operating units?
It is restricted the responsibility access level.
Exactly. For the payable superuser Reliance Postpaid responsibility, whatever we are using, the operating unit is MO operating unit is Reliance Postpaid. Hence, only that is coming in the drop-down. Okay, select that. So that is with regard to scheduled payment selection criteria. As the name itself says, what kind of invoices to be selected. So what kind of suppliers and what kind of the payment methods and what kind of payment currency invoices needs to be selected. When you are making a single payment, we did not have all these details. The reason being, when you are doing a single payment, you are directly going to the invoice and picking up the invoice. So, but when you are running through a payment process request, how does system understand which kind of invoices needs to be selected? So that is the reason we are specifying the criteria, selection criteria, what kind of invoices needs to be selected and made the payment.
Hey, Arvind, can you just explain the section of number of pay from days, additional pay through days?
Okay. The first thing is number of pay from days. If you are leaving it as blank, okay, all the invoices will be, all the due invoices will be picked up. Okay. First important thing is basically only the invoices which are due, only those invoices will be picked up by your payment process request. If you are making a single payment, whether it's a due or not, system will allow you to make the payment. But if you are going through your payment process request, only the invoices which are due will be picked up. So again, to give you an example, take an example. I created an invoice today with an invoice date of 30th of September 2017 with a payment terms of 30 days. So that means this will be due on 30th of October 2017. I create another invoice on say 1st of October, or like a bad example. So maybe there is another invoice which is created on 25th of September 2017 with a 30 days payment terms. So it will be due on 25th of October. There is another invoice 1, invoice 2, invoice 3, which is created on say 1st of September with 30 days payment terms. So that means it is due 30th of September 2017. So now when you run your payment process request, out of these 3 invoices, system is going to select only this invoice because that is the only invoice which is due today. it will not pick up this invoice and it will not be picking up this particular invoice. So from a user perspective, data entry perspective, when users are entering the invoices, they ensure that the payment terms are proper, and that's it. System will take care of, and users do not even need to remember as to which invoices are due on which date. Okay, as long as their invoice date and payment terms are fine, and system will automatically calculate the due date. And whenever you are running your payment process request, it is going to pick up all those invoices which are due on that particular day. On 30th of September, when you run your PPR, it is going to pick up only this particular invoice. When you run your PPR on 25th of September, sorry, 25th of October, it is going to pick up only this particular invoice. 30th of September invoice is already paid. It is not going to pick up this. It is going to pick up all the invoices which are due on or before that particular date. Okay. So on 25th of October, this is already paid. So that means this is the only invoice which is due, and that will be picked up. On 30th of October, when you run your PPR, it is going to pick up only this particular invoice. Let us assume that you ran your PPR on 30th of September. So this is paid. You did not run your PPR on 25th of October. You ran again your PPR on 30th of October. So when you run your PPR on 30th of October, then it is going to pick up this invoice plus this invoice. What is the reason for that?
Status is not paid.
Exactly. So on 30th of October, it is going to pick up all those invoices which are due on or before of 30th of October. Okay, this particular invoice is due on 25th of October, but you did not run the payment process, or for some reason you missed out to make a payment. Okay, on 30th of October, when you are running, it is going to pick up this invoice plus this invoice, because both are due as of 30th of October. Okay, so that is the first important thing which you need to understand from the payment process request. Now coming back to your question, Niranjan. Number of pay from dates. If I remember it correctly, number of pay from days. I'm just trying to recollect the significance of this. These two are interlinked. Additional pay through days. Can I get back to you on that, Niranjan? I'm just trying to recollect. I'm not.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Okay. So for the time being, I'm actually leaving it as blank. So when I leave it as blank, it is going to pick up all the invoices which are due as of today. And I also want to select that include zero payment. So the significance of include zero payment is, take an example, there is an invoice for 10,000 rupees. There is a credit memo for minus 10,000 rupees. It's a standalone credit memo. Okay. So ideally, when you try to make a payment by including these two, the net payment is zero. Am I right? Yes, the net payment is zero. So if I do not check that include zero amount checkbox, then what will happen is these kind of things will be not be picked up by your payment process request. But I want to make a payment of even these invoices also, so that this will not be coming in my outstanding report. Okay. So in order to do that, I need to select the checkbox of allow include zero amount. And other important thing is process automation. So under process automation, these are the two important checkboxes. So this is stop process for review after scheduled payment selection. So that means when you run your payment process request, there are different stages. First stage is selection. Second stage is review. Third stage is formatting. Fourth stage is again review. Fifth stage is actually confirmation. So at a different stage you want to, there are different stages, and at what stage you want to review before you proceed further. If I check this checkbox of stop process for review after scheduled payment selection, what will happen is, when once it has selected the invoices based on the criteria what you have selected, you need to actually click on a particular button, then only it will proceed further. If you do not check this checkbox, it will automatically move further and it will go to the last stage. In general, we select this checkbox so that we just want to review all the invoices whatever we have selected. There could be a mistake in our selection criteria, or there could be some other issue. For some specific reason you do not want to select a particular invoice, or whatever would be the reason, you should always ensure that check this checkbox so that you will be able to review the invoices before you proceed further. And the last checkbox is stop process for review after creation of proposed payment. So once you have done with the review and once you proceed further, then there is something called formatting which happens, and this is the final stage wherein you can what do you call review before you proceed further. So ensure this checkbox is also checked, and when you run your payment process request, then you'll understand the significance. So for the time being, I'll select these two checkboxes. Okay, and then and this is also stop process for review. If there are any issues with the documents, then you want to stop the process for your review, and this also you'll understand when you run your payment process. Okay, for these two also I'll say.
Praveen, can you go back to the process automation?
Uh-huh.
Can you list down that drop-down list? Create payment instructions. I mean, can you just hint
Okay,
out
create
what all
payment.
the
Yeah, create payment instructions is the last final file. Whether you want the payment file to be generated, initiate when payment process request is complete. When PPR is completed, whether you want that file to be generated, the electronic payment file, or whether you want for wait for standard request submission. That means whether you want to run it individually. So generally we go for this particular option of initiate when payment process request is complete. So as soon as the payment process request is completed, that is we have confirmed that we want that particular file to be generated. Instead of if you go for that wait for standard request submission, then you need to manually generate the file through some other means. Okay.
okay, okay.
Okay, click on apply. So this okay, so there is one error. Payment exchange rate type is required in the payment attribute. Okay, so there is something called payment exchange rate type. Okay, this is basically used if you are using if you are making a payment of the foreign currency payment. When you are making a foreign currency payment, then what is the exchange rate type which you want system to use to convert them into functional currency? So if you remember, like you need to specify an exchange rate type whenever you are creating any journals or invoices or even for the payment. So select the exchange rate type, apply. So payment process request template is completed. Now proceed with the payment process request. So submit a single request. So give a name to your request. So Reliance PPR. And here you can see again more or less whatever you have specified earlier are coming up here. If you use the template, whatever we have created, whatever we have entered there will be defaulted here. Okay, we'll let us see that. Reliance PPR electronic template. See here, as soon as I say enter the template, these things are defaulted here. Payment method, we have whatever we have entered there. Operating unit, whatever we have entered there is actually defaulted here. Okay, pay through date is basically pick up all the invoices which are due as of 30th of September. That is as of today. Okay, and a couple of other things. Payment attributes, you can see exchange rate type, whatever we have entered is defaulted here. Okay, and these things also, if you remember, we have entered that. So all the things whatever you have entered there are actually defaulted. So generally in a live environment, what we do is we come to this payment process request, just enter the template and then click on submit, because all the things whatever you have entered in the template are automatically defaulted here. You need not again do anything extra. Okay, now click on submit. Okay, before I click on submit, I should ensure that at least there are some invoices with the electronic payment method. Okay, let us check if there are any really some invoices. If there are no invoices, then obviously payment process request will not be able to pick up any invoices. Let me check before I submit that are there any invoices under my ABC vendor which we are using with the payment method of electronic. So is there any criteria? Payment method of electronic, and those should be in the validated status and those should be in the unpaid status. Okay, there is only one invoice, okay, which has got the payment method of electronic. Okay, and it is go to schedule payment and it is due today. I mean it is already due on 24th of September, so that means this should be now picked up by our program. Okay, what I'll do is I'll also create one more invoice so that you'll understand better. So that is first one is for 95,000 and this will be for around say something like some 36,000. Okay, and I ensure that I should have the payment method of electronic. Okay, and now here you can see the payment terms is 30. When I say payment terms is 30, automatically if you go to schedule payment terms, it is due on 30th of October. If it is due on 30th of October, then now when I run my payment process request, this will not be picked up. But I want this to be picked up now. So what I will do is I'll change the payment terms to immediate. So when I change the payment terms to immediate, okay, you can see the due date is changed to 30th of September. So that means this should be now picked up by our program. Okay, in general you will not use a payment terms of immediate, but from our testing purpose I'm using a payment terms of immediate, generally because most of the vendors will provide us what you call at least a 30 days payment terms. Okay, now go to lines. What is my invoice amount? Invoice amount is for 36,000, right? Okay, go to distributions. Some expense account. Actions, validate. Okay, so now we got two invoices. Okay, two invoices are invalidated. Okay, so this is validated, put your cursor here, and even this is also validated. Okay, and this invoice, I mean the first invoice has got the amount paid as 0, and second invoice has also got amount paid of 0. Okay, and see in the first invoice it should pick up 95,000, and for the second invoice, see there is a withholding tax, so it should now make a payment of only 32,400 for the second invoice. Okay, and remember, some users actually get confused that accounting of the invoice is not mandatory. So whether the invoice is accounted or not, system is going to pick up those invoices for the payment. Okay, again this is an example. First invoice is accounted, second invoice is not accounted, but still system is going to pick up this invoice that we can see now. Okay, validation of the invoice is mandatory, but accounting of invoice is not mandatory in order to make a payment. Okay, now there are two invoices.
Yeah, just to add on to that, Arvind, I was about to ask that question. Why we need then accounting for invoice level? Because end of the day, it simply needs to pay that invoice to the vendor. So why the create accounting feature is enabled?
Okay, if you do not do an accounting, see, making of a creating of an invoice, making of a payment is fine. Okay, if you do not do an accounting of the invoice, then how do like, from where exactly system is going to generate these accounting entries? Only once you do an accounting, once you check the checkbox of create accounting or run your create accounting program, that's the place only where system is going to generate this accounting entry. So this is the accounting entry which will be generated during invoice creation, or like when you do an accounting for the invoice, and this is the accounting entry which system is going to generate for the payment. If you do not do that, then system is not going to create accounting entries, and without doing an accounting of the invoice or payment, you will not be able to close the period, and without closing of AP period, you will not be able to close GL period, and without closing of your GL period, you will not be able to report your financials.
So in this example, first invoice is already accounted at the invoice level, and you were proceeding for payment. For the second invoice, accounting is not done, but
Yeah.
be proceeding for payment. Assume
Yeah.
both invoices are paid, and what all the steps to be covered while you are covering the whole cycle?
Okay.
Because when you're trying to close that period, right? Then one
Okay.
invoice is accounted already, another invoice not accounted, something like that, right? Some
Okay.
gaps there,
So
right?
yeah. Okay. In simple terms, in a live implementation project, it is the data entry user who will be creating the invoice, and it's a payment clerk who will be making a payment. Nobody is bothered about accounting. Create accounting program is scheduled overnight, so program knows which invoices to be picked up, which payments to be picked up, where the payment is done, where the invoice is validated, and where the payment is done. It is going to pick up all those invoices where the accounting flag is no. Okay, users need not bother about that. Okay, the create accounting program is going to pick up all the invoices or the payments which are not accounted, and it is going to account that. And at the end of the month, when you close your period, if there are any kind of a invoices or the payments which are not yet still accounted, then system will not allow you to close the period, and then you need to run something called, I mean, as part of my period closure checklist, I'll also show you the steps which you need to take care. You need to run something called subledger period close exceptions report, find out what are the invoices or the payments which are not yet accounted, and then go there and account them, and then proceed with the period closure.
Okay.
Okay. So as a normal user, you need not worry about what is the invoice which is accounted, what is the payment which is not accounted, one is accounted and one is not accounted, and all those stuff. Your create accounting program is going to take care of that. But this being a testing environment, I manually what do you call validated the first invoice, did not validate the second invoice. I did not schedule that particular program. This being a testing instance. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now I got two invoices. Now click on submit. Okay, payment process request with the requested ID was submitted. You can query for it and monitor the status. Okay, click on refresh status. Okay, what is your request? Reliance PPR. Sorry, Reliance REL. Okay, here you can see it is payment process new. Okay, it is still running. Refresh. Invoices pending for review. Okay, so what it says, if you remember in the payment process request template, we have said that once the system has actually picked up that particular invoice, it needs to wait for you to review and then proceed further. So that is the reason why now it is stopped here. It will not proceed further unless until you click on start action, review that, and you click on one more button there. Okay, you can see schedule payment 2 looks like it has picked up two invoices. Now go to start action and review those invoices. Here you can see it has picked up two invoices. One is for 95,000 and another one is for 37,400, something like that. So there are two invoices for this particular amount. Okay, you can review them. You can review these two invoices, ABC 102 for 95,000, ABC 101 for 32,000. For some reason, if you want to remove one of those invoices, you can click on that checkbox. Click on okay. What I'll do is I'll uncheck this checkbox. Click on remove from request. Are you sure you want to remove one document? Say yes. Okay. Now there is only one payment because we have removed one request or like one invoice. Now click on submit. Okay. Now calculating special amounts. Okay, one invoice is selected. Okay. Now click on refresh. So until there is a start action, you need to click on unless until there is an action item on you, you need to click on refresh status. Okay. Now information.
Hey, Arvind, just a quick check. When you before you submitting, right? There is an option of field enabled to provide some discount amount, right?
Okay.
If you populate some figure over there in that particular field, uh, how it works actually, because the discount is not at the invoice level, but it is at the initiation is happening at the payment level.
Okay.
Against to that invoice. So how
Okay.
the update happens to that invoice back to that?
Okay, that's fine. First, let us complete concentrate on the PPR first, and then we'll get into that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I think we'll get diverted if I get into the discount calculations. Okay. Okay. So in the earlier request, what it said is like there is some pending action from you. So what has happened? The pending action is the bank account details are not available. So I think somewhere in the payment process request or payment process template, we did not specify the bank account and the payment process profile. So that is the reason why it got stuck here, and it is saying that it is asking you to enter the payment bank account and payment process profile. Now what we will do is we'll go back to that. We'll terminate this request. Go back to the payment process template. We'll enter those bank account and we'll come back to this. Okay. If you want, we can terminate this, or instead of terminating, we can enter the bank account details and we can proceed further. What do you want me to do? Terminate or go back to the template, enter the bank account details again, to create a fresh PPR?
We'll keep it. We will append the details.
Sorry.
We'll keep it and append the details and see how it.
Okay. Okay. So if that is the case, then we need to terminate this. Are you sure you want to terminate? Yes. Okay. So now it's terminated. Okay. Now go back to our template. Reliance PPR template update payment attributes. Okay, so this is where the bank account, disbursement bank account, that is a bank account through which you want to make the payment. We missed out that. ICICI, that's the bank account. And what is the payable document which we want to use? ICICI electronic, Reliance electronic EFT. Okay. And what is the payment process profile which we want to use? What is our payment process profile? Reliance postpaid. Okay. I don't know why payable document is getting. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Now apply. Okay. Now requery this and cross check whether those details are available. Okay, everything is available. Okay. Now try to create one more PPR. Submit a single request. Reliance PPR 2 Reliance postpaid electronic PPR 2 and use the template Reliance postpaid PPR template tab. Okay, all the things are defaulted here. Let us check the payment attributes. See, now all those things are defaulted. Okay, now we are good with this. Click on submit. The other one is terminated, so this is the one. Okay, right? It is a new status. New status. Yeah, okay. It has picked up two invoices pending for review. Click on start action. So it is asking us to review. Okay, we can review here. Okay, looks like everything is fine. Or if you want to remove one particular invoice, you can remove that invoice. Remove from request. Yes. Submit. Okay, invoice is selected, so there is still no pending action item on us. Okay, pending process payment review. Click on start action. So it is asking, so here it is just asking us to review again. Nothing is missing here, everything is fine, but it is asking us to just review because that is how we have set up in the template. We just want to be review. Okay, actions, run payment request. Okay, it's already selected, just click on go. Okay, pending. Okay, formatting. So the different status is actually first selecting, and then it is going to build the process, ask for your review, and then it is going to format. So when you say format, it is actually generating a payment file in a format whatever you have specified when you have defined your template. If you remember, when you create your payment process profile, you have created you have created a format. Like for check, we have given laser format, and for electronic, we have given US FedEx format. I can go back to that, show you that payment process profile. Okay, so this is the format, US FedEx CDX format. So that is the format in which a file will be generated. So that is a predefined format. If you want, you can create your own custom formats also through customization. Okay, so in this particular format, when you are defining a format, you specify like a couple of fields are actually required. Okay, some apart from the supplier name, supplier number, and a couple of other things, you're also expecting some kind of an additional information. Okay, Now in this case, if there are any issues with the formatting, okay, it will stop here. Okay, it will not proceed further. So I believe as we have used a system, what you call, as we have used an existing template without doing a proper testing, it is still stuck at the formatting. So it is not going further. Okay, now we need to go and fix that particular formatting errors. Okay, click on this hyperlink. Okay, go here. Don't see any errors here. Are there any errors? Okay, go to reference number. Any errors here? There are no validation errors on this document. Okay, there are no validation errors on this document. So that means I think we are good. Okay, we'll proceed further. We'll go back to the previous screen. So I thought there are some errors. So if there are any errors, so that's how you need to navigate, and then you need to check.
Arvind, can you check the concurrent request if there is anything running or
Yeah,
one?
yeah, that's a good thing. Good point. Concurrent request also completed. Any errors? Any errors? Select this invoice, and then it is going to show this. Click on this. So it says no validation error. So if there are ideally, if there are no validation errors here, if there are any validation errors, then it's going to stop here. If there are no validation errors, then ideally it should proceed further. Uh, okay, let me check the request which was triggered. So this is the payment process request. Let me check if this output gives me any information. Okay, straightforward. This is the payment process request output. So okay, let me also check the invoice status. Requery this invoice, first invoice. So first status, earlier status was unpaid. Now it says it's not even bringing up this invoice. See, it is selected for payment. Okay, so that means it is still running. It is still in the selection process. So rejected and removed items. So what else could be the error? Uh, Formatting, and there is no action item on us. If there is any action item, it is going to see that, but it is not able to proceed further. So I mean, like the next status, the last status will, once the formatting is successful, the last status will be completed, and once you go and check the invoice should show a status of paid. But let me double check the template, whatever we are using. This is the template, and is there any other things which we are missing here? Lens for withholding, withholding. This is fine. Process initiate when payment process request is complete. Stop process for review after creation of proposal. These we have already taken care. These also we have taken care. But Okay, we'll do a one more try. So what we'll do is we'll try to do a similar kind of a payment for checks. Okay. Oh, then if that is the case, I think I need to create again one more template for that. Okay, so what I'll do is maybe I'll check, and in tomorrow's discussion we were trying to do payment process request, and when we are doing a payment process request, it got stuck at one stage and we were not able to proceed further. It is because there are some formatting errors, so I was able to identify those errors and I was able to make the payment. So today what I will do is whatever the payment which has made yesterday, I will cancel those payments and we will run the payment process request once again. Again, it gets stuck at the same formatting stage, and then I will let you know how to fix those formatting errors. I purposefully chosen that particular payment format so that it gets stuck, and I'll explain you how to fix those errors. Okay. So there are two invoices. One is ABC 102 and ABC 1001. For these two invoices, we try to make a PPR yesterday, and these are already paid. Now I will try to void the payment. When I say void the payment, cancel the payment and then rerun the PPR process. Okay. So first invoice is ABC 102. So in order to void the payment, what we need to do is first we need to query for the invoice, go to view payments, pick up the payment document number 1000. So go to payments, entry, payments, payment number 1000, find. Okay, so this is the payment which we made yesterday. It is showing two payments with the same number. Okay, I think this is the one which I did yesterday. 30th of September. Okay, so actions, void. Okay, I'm voiding the payment. Voiding a payment cannot be undone. Choosing OK to void the payment or choose cancel. So OK. Okay, so this is voided, which is cancelled. So that means now that particular invoice is now became outstanding. So you can go to the invoice overview. Now it says amount paid is 0. Here you can see amount paid is 0. If you go to view payments, you'll be able to see positive and then negative because we have cancelled the invoice. Sorry, cancelled the payment. So that's the ABC 102. There is one more invoice also. ABC 1001. So first go to ABC 1001 invoice and find out the corresponding payment number. So this is the payment number 1001. So it's just a coincidence, the invoice number is 1001 and payment number is also 1000. Click on flashlight, enter the payment number. So this is the payment which I made yesterday. Yeah, 30th of September. Click on actions, void, okay. Okay. So this is also cancelled. Now we have two invoices which are eligible for PPR. Okay. Now we'll try to run the PPR. If you remember the navigation yesterday, payments, entry, payment manager. It opens the web page. Go to the payment process request, submit single request, and enter the name for your PPR. So it will be something like Reliance PPR, and put the date. So generally this PPR is run on a daily basis. So the naming convention will be Reliance PPR underscore the date, and use the template whatever we have defined yesterday so that all the attributes it gets defaulted automatically. Okay, so you will not make any changes. Directly click on submit. Okay, here you can see payment process request with so and so request ID was submitted for payment. If you want to check the status of the request, you can go to view, request, find. Here you can check, or within the web page itself, put your payment process request name, click on find. Here you can see, click on refresh. Okay, so it says invoices pending for review, start action. So there is an action item on us to review those invoices and move forward. So let us check whether it has selected those two invoices. Yes, it has selected these two invoices. If you want to remove any of these invoices, you can remove, or if you are okay with that, then you click on submit so that it will move forward. Okay, again you can see another status calculating some special amounts. Refresh, again pending proposed payment review. So again now it is asking us to, it has selected those invoices and it has built. Now it is asking you to review and proceed further. You can see everything is fine, so just click on the status is run payment process, click on go, which is proceeding further. Again click on refresh. Refresh, assembling the payments, formatting. So if you remember yesterday, it was not moving forward after formatting. Okay, so the reason is it is not moving forward. It is not moving forward because there are some formatting issues. So you can click on this hyperlink. Yesterday, what we did is we picked up this particular specific invoice number, and then we clicked on that invoice number, and then here we saw that there are no validation errors in this document. So we were not able to see any validation error. But what we need to do is, instead of doing that way, okay, again go back to the same screen, click on here. Here you can see related payment instrument instructions. So click on this hyperlink of one. So one file was generated and there are some formatting issues in the file. So click on that. Okay, here you can see failed validation pending action. So click on take action. So if you remember, like we have used this particular what you call USCTX payment validation format. That's an inbuilt format which is provided by Oracle. So that particular format says that apart from the supplier name, supplier number, and invoice amount, I want even all other details. So SSN, RFSC, agency address, and so many other details. So all these details are available in the actually supplier. But when we have created a supplier, we just created a suppliers with the minimum information. But if you want to generate a payment format file in a specific format, then all these details are required. So obviously in any client environment, we do not use the generic format. We build our own format based on our business requirement. So in this case, I mean, as we are not able to build our own format, or like we do not have any kind of a business requirement here, what we did is we use the existing payment format. And in the existing payment format, it is expecting all these details for the supplier. So what you can do is you can provide all these details, come back to this particular screen, and then again what do you call, you can retry this particular process. Or the other option would be you can see override as yes. Okay, and if you want, you can put some justification or text. So when I say override as yes, I am overriding this error. So that means I want to proceed forward without providing these details. So for all the errors, I am saying override as yes.
Arvind, where we can see that the format have these many fields which are required. Is there any place that you can see the format, what exactly it is looking?
Yeah, I'll show you that format screen. Okay, let me first complete this. Okay, so I'm overriding everything. So run payment process, say click on go. Okay, and now again go back to the original screen. Okay, refresh this. In formatting, yeah, it's confirmed now. So confirmed is the last stage. So that means those two invoices are now paid. Now go back to so when the particular program is running in the background, there are a couple of requests which are also being generated. You can see the last request, send separate remittance advice. So this particular remittance advice will contain the details of the invoices it has actually picked up. See the invoice number ABC 102 for 95,000 amount. and ABC 1001 for 32,400. So generally remittance advice is nothing but a copy which we send it to the vendor along with the check. So along with the check, you also give this particular remittance advice so that user understand or the vendor understand that that particular check amount of say 95,000 in this case is for which invoice and for which date. And there are a couple of other details which are available so that it will give an information for the vendor, because looking at the check he may not have all those details. Check may have only just the amount. So but this particular remittance advice will have the details of the invoice number, and this is the check number, and the other details, the check date and other details. Okay, now coming back to your question, Narendra, where we can check those payment formats. Okay, setup payment administrator. Here you can see formats, define formats. Click on go to task. So enter your format name. So I think our format name, I had mentioned that in one of the BR100. Let me pull that. When I am creating a bank account, I had provided that format. Bank account, sorry, payable document. Yeah, this is the format, US Federal CTX format. So this is the format which we used, Federal CTX ACH format. So click on update. Um, So if you create our own custom format, once you come to this particular screen, then here you can define the user defined validations, all the validations. So a simple example would be you can pick up one particular field and you can say it's mandatory or not. But this being what do you call seeded one, let us check from the other way. Go to this template. You can download that template, and in the template you should be able to see all the fields. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay, so this will give you the info, this being a seeded information, seeded template, wherein you do not know what are the validations which are done. So this what do you call will explain you as to what are the fields which are being displayed under which positions and the comments. Okay, I think we saw something related to agency. It was talking about some agency name or something like that, agency location code. Do you remember that? Okay, so these are the fields which are mandatory. You can review this, which will give you the information of the fields which are necessary for the seeded template.
Okay. Okay, Arvind.
Okay, so this is how you actually create the template and associate. So whatever the templates which you create here, you need to associate the template to your bank account when you are defining the bank account, and then the bank account will be linked to something called your PPR template, and from PPR template it gets default to your PPR process. So that's how the link flows.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the reason why we were not able to make the payment through PPR. Okay, so now we will start with the AR module. So let me close this.
Yeah, I just joined. Sorry, was late.
Yeah, Niranjan. Okay. So just now we have completed the PPR
The
process.
same here.
So I mean, like once this session is completed, you can just watch the video. So we found out the reason why we were not able to proceed further with the PPR is it's because of the formatting errors. So I had explained how to correct the PPR errors and proceed further.